Welcome, 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 Adriane Venus, your quantum love coach, and I welcome you to the second edition of Venus Talks. Today is Easter Friday. It's a very sacred day, a very, very holy day in Christian tradition. And in my inner self, I feel really, really very connected with spirit. And a few beautiful messages came through today to share with you. And I want to be very precise and really make it about your journey and my sharing and contribution to your life and to your love manifestations. In the very early stages of my career as a love coach, I created programs and I taught them usually in seminars and rooms. And I loved being for a whole day from morning to evening with 12, 24, 60 people, whatever size of group it was, in secluded spaces, usually in New Zealand, in Auckland. And it was fun because it was the beginning of my love coach career and I enjoyed just playing out. And I have always been good in creating ideas, content, and also this whole idea of bringing something into motion, into something bigger. And coming from the film and from the creative industries, I had the idea of transferring the theme of think and grow rich into the theme think and grow love. So Napoleon Hill was almost like a little bit of a manifesto in my life to help me to transform ideas from the wealth creation into the space of love creation. And the first big word appearing in Think and Grow Rich actually is the word desire. And the word desire just was in the last 24 hours incredibly present with me. And it was almost like, speak about desire, because ultimately, we are in the sun sign of Aries right now. We're almost going into Taurus next week. So it's the 18th of April. We are in a very, very potent time. Astrologically is huge, particularly this week. For many signs, it's a very eclectic time for change, for decision making, for making things really, really work in our lives. And also this kind of almost commitment to completely embark a new journey, not just the idea or that we are some sort of infused by, some kind of, romantic visions. No, it's now. It's almost like, yes, we can actually really do this. And what I like so much about the Napoleon Hill material is it's very sound, it's very grounded, it's very, crowded in words as well, but grounded in its approach to making a statement and deliberately, embarking on a journey, really, really taking the reader into a very, very precise and almost physically deliberate space. So what happens here is when we think about love, not just feel love or romanticize about love, but really think about love, then we can ultimately treat it the absolute same way how we treat any other area of our life, particularly those we make so much very strong statements of clarity, how we run our business, how we make our money, what we are doing next in our education, how we are running our family. This is what we want. I want so many children in my life. And here we are, and looking in the olden days when this kind of conscious manifestation didn't appear in modern societies, but it was all very, very traditional and really run very, very much. Here's the masculine force, and here's the feminine force, and here the man creating a particular theme into a family space or into a business space or even into political world economic space. So here is the masculine creating the life force, the force for things to moving forward, infused by the love, the container of care and compassion and nourishing from the feminine divine side. So now we are in a time, and I spoke about this a little bit last week in my long introduction video, that really the divine feminine has the challenge in our very, very current time to balance our need for actualization and defining our identity versus being in our ease, in our feminine self, in our nourishing self, in our self-love from a place of not feeling in any way overwhelmed, stressed, or anxious. So desire can something invoke in us that almost rattles us to a point of division. All right, there come a lot of D's now in the next few minutes when I speak about this, because desire is a motion, an energetic movement, a kind of running through us in our systemic and in our sensory system. It has a meaning. It tells us that there's something we want to listen to and pay attention to. And the next D is the decisiveness, the decision making, that we really pay attention to that. As Napoleon Hill also really puts a lot of attention on making good decisions. And he explains it in his very, very, old fashioned, yet very, very timely and timeless book, how interestingly we can look at decisions from different perspectives. We can feel we have to only go one way, and the other parts of the decision-making process have to be, put aside. I love the approach of what I learned and apply a lot in my coaching practice. What I learned from Tony Robbins, that there's never only two decisions or two pathways or two options to be looked at. If you look at three or even more than three, then your mind allows a sense of openness, variety, and creativity to come up with what absolutely works the best for us in our current state of mind and heart. And sometimes we can take elements of one option and combine it with the element of another option, and suddenly realize that the creation of that decision we make for ourselves is really, really the one that is absolutely the right one. And why is this so important when we think about love? I think we are conditioned from our mothers, particularly our grandmothers and great-grandmothers and grandfathers' generations, that love is something that happens to us. Very rarely we understand that it is something we can really intentionally bring into a form or into an experience that is absolutely in harmony, in authenticity, and in rightness with who we are and what we want to create in our life in a bigger picture. Being single doesn't mean we are failing in love. Being single can, for mature women like I am in this stage of my life, be an incredible, empowering experience to make myself, available for being a conduit or a conductor of something meaningful and creative and much, much more powerful than just dedicating my time and my love and my creativity into one particular relationship or into family life. Now, I'm lucky my children are grown up, they're independent, they have their passions, their careers, and evolve beautifully. So for me now, not being in a committed relationship at this stage, not saying that I'm not meeting people, that I'm not meeting men, and that I don't have situations where I engage deeply with the other gender, there is still this freedom, this aspect of freedom here. Now, if you decide to be in a relationship and feel that this is the world you have created for yourself, and you decide this is absolutely where you want to be, then congratulations, because that is ultimately where we experience this beautiful dual play of feminine and masculine, and this beautiful polarity, which allows us to open up and get us to experience so much higher and more fulfilling, intimate experiences than needing to be aware of our own intimate self the entire time, So there is this X factor that somebody else awakens his desire and then sparks his desire or her desire to your desire. And here comes this wonderful play where things happen that are surprising and inviting and ultimately beautifully engaging. That's probably the most loving word I can bring out. Coming back to Napoleon Hill, this decisiveness demands dedication to really follow through what we decide on. And thinking about growing love, it's also the dedication to being love. I spoke about being love and becoming love last week in context to the idea of changing our identity to somebody who is a conduit for love, who is somebody who is available, helping the world of love and relationship to be and to become a much, much more holy, healthy, and fulfilling place. The world is very distorted. And in this whole process of who are we and who have we become as beloveds to those we invite into our life or have invited a long time ago and still continue to be in intimate relationship with, is really, really very, very important to nourish and to nurture and to give priority in a very conscious way. We can get very, very complacent. We can get very casual. And more than anything else, we can become incredibly disconnected and lose the willingness to be committed to the process of growing in that space of love relationship. I always, and that's why I call myself quantum love coach, honor the quantum space we are creating with one another. The quantum space that comes and streams through the vortex to people or more people, or even just the environment itself create in and around us. So having that quantum field in which we can fuse and fuel our desire, our decisions, and our dedication in is something incredibly powerful. So these 3Ds have almost like, they built a stepstone of the ability to think and grow love in a very conscious, deliberate, and more than anything else, fulfilling manner. The fulfillment doesn't lead us to judge whether something is good or bad, or higher or lower, or peaking to a level we have never experienced before. No, sometimes it's just really beautiful to acknowledge the fact that we have something amazing going on for one another, and that we build on it, that we give it time, that we give it space, and that we give it freedom and expansiveness to grow and to transmute the energy and the field itself, the environment itself, with something that is helping our inner self to reform, to transform into a beloved, into a lover who is willing to never think in the space of, I have arrived somewhere. You constantly thrive to actually experience love, new, renewed, and transformed every single day of your life. Now, speaking about quantum fields, in my program, I talk and will talk a lot about the first part I see as the key stepstone in becoming love and becoming a conduit of love, which is the environment of love, the environment of intimacy, which brings me in directly or indirectly to the question I ask you: how is your love environment? How is your relationship environment? How is your home environment or your personal environment designed, shaped, and prepared to let experiences come in that are ultimately, totally, utterly those experiences you created because you knew that this was the level of intensity or depth or knowingness you were ready to manifest in your life. So here comes this big question: where are you? Where in this whole spectrum are you prepared to step into your space, into your living space, and look around with very, very, very conscious eyes and decide that there's something, or a piece of furniture, or an item, or even something energetically coming externally into the space that is not supporting where you are at in your love life? Now, in the past, I have helped people transforming their intimate space and redecorating bedrooms and building and decorating beautiful love altars. So the ritualistic part of his work is really, really fun and beautiful. But I want to go a step further. I want to really, really become almost in Napoleon Hill style, very, very grounded and very real about this, in the sense that it's really a decision, which room in the house I make my bedroom, which room in the house do I decorate as sacred space for letting my intimate self be completely free-flowing. And if there's any reason to not be decisive about it because you have to be on default because the circumstances do not allow it any other way, then, I understand that. Sometimes we can not have everything exactly the way how we would like it to have or be. But there's still this invitation I want to express to you, that you have the opportunity to be very, very, very clear about what is available to you, and what you have manifested already has the capacity to be, cleared, cleansed, also almost cherished with a new energy of excitement, of this desire you really, really feel bubbling up from your belly into your heart, that is streaming into the room, into the space, and you suddenly feel, oh my God, here I would love a different painting. I would like the colors of my fabrics in this bedroom be different colors. I would like to exclude and take every and anything out that is too much. And if you have only one space, like in modern design or in modern architecture, we often have studios with kitchen and bathroom and living and bedroom space very, very close by. But here comes, and I sip on my cup of tea, which I brought back today, like last week. There's still the opportunity to be incredibly clear that we can divide energetic spaces, and I'm not giving you a feng shui lesson per se here, or a lesson what to do and not to do in your own space. But I wrote a lovely ebook 2 years ago, which I can mention downstairs, and you can actually request by email to receive. So I'm very happy to get your message, and this ebook being requested. At the moment, it's not linked to a site, because the website for the intimate interior design features I offered in my business is not active. However, the concept of transforming your environment to something that is absolutely ideal for what is allowing you to become the lover and the beloved you totally, utterly wish to be, is always given. And it is almost like a first step. Instead of looking out into the world and saying, where's a man or where's a woman I can date, I would start dating in my own living space or bedroom space or in the space I declare being my creative playground. And the more we get in touch with every item we are surrounding us with, the more we become conscious how good or unresourceful something or someone or some energy around us is for our own self and our own self-being. And I believe that we have the autonomy and almost the birthright to become very clear where boundaries are and where we want to put our own energy without being infused or distorted by somebody else's energy. Even mothers and fathers can create this for themselves. I'm a big believer that we can create bedroom spaces as couples with our children that become holy and sacred for ourselves, and where children know that they only may enter the space when they're invited. And it's almost like when you as goddess invite your masculine counterpart to come into your loving space, then you open the door. You open the door to the goddess temple and invite him in. And there might be a situation it is reversed, that he prepares the space and he is the one putting the items into the place that he feels infused and aroused by. And he helps you to feel invited and relaxed and welcome into a space that is wonderfully, beautifully prepared for that coming together into one act of love and love making. But the love making goes on every day. Many of us work from the same spaces here. I live in a studio in Bali where everything is in one space. I live out of my suitcases. And you know what is the very, very interesting part about this? That I never ever come in a situation anymore where I clutter something in my life and where something becomes complacent and just sits there. Yes, I might not always be in environments that are completely 100% designed by me and the way I would design it. Would it be my long-term home? I want to be really honest. I have the privilege to be in different locations in Bali at different times, for sometimes shorter or medium length terms. But the powerful part about it is that I never ever stop renewing my own environment. And if I invite people or partners or lovers or friends into the space, then it's always ready for an experience. Why? Because the renewal and the clearing and the cleansing happens through my own endeavors, through my own actions, thoughts, and intentions every single day. So, for those of you who are interested to consider the profession of a love coach, I really want to talk to you because I think there is a wonderful opportunity to embark a journey in a beautiful environment around Bali. If that's not the space you want to meet me, we can certainly design your training either in New Zealand, Australia, or Europe. So there is my openness to follow my students and to follow my future, love coaches I help to create in this next few years, and not to make it 100% rule that everybody has to meet in one space. The meeting and the physical experience in one room and space is ultimately my key goal. I will train very little, of the smallest proportion of your training would be online. The greatest proportion in an environment that is dedicated and designed for us to have experiences that help you to understand love coaching from a very hands-on and very present, and more than anything else, from a very, very interactive and personally engaging perspective. I'm trained online a lot over the last few years, and I have to say that had its wonderful parts and opportunities for me. But I want to really say that having done trainings like NLP or Jitsu or all my big homeopathy, all my major trainings that added to my CV over the years, have been hands-on in seminar and in trainings environments, in beautiful spaces with beautiful people, and often in very, very nature-bound environments. So I want to create that for my guests from overseas as well as those I will visit and meet in their countries. So the Academy is in the process to be built. We are doing a lot of work in the background, planning, shaping, and creating. And the conversation can start, because the prerequisite to actually work with me and train with me is that you have a coaching experience of 3 months at least for yourself, being love coach and being really, really clear what intentions you put in transmuting and transforming, and particularly healing your love life, regardless of your gender, relationship status, or background. Now, I want to thank you for listening today. I think it's a very exciting time. Think and Grow Love is very, very important. I think it's equally important, like Think and Grow Rich, because the richness of financial abundance can be equally powerful, like the richness of heart-based abundance and richness. And I think when we really live from this place, that everything is one and oneness is installed in our existence, then this wonderful experience of holding space for something that is created through us rather than for us is such a powerful experience. So next Friday, I will record another Venus talk, but also that day I will run a masterclass in which I introduce you to the awakening of your own inner love coach. So look out down below in the description box. You have my website links on the website and on my social media, all the invitations, but you can always email or WhatsApp me for more questions. I just really focus on one project solely after the other, and the invitations might not be visible immediately here, but look out on all the social media on my website, and I look forward to meeting you then and book a call and talk to me. Think and Grow Love. Have a wonderful Easter, and for those of you who have not a relationship to the Easter tradition, but still enjoy the holiday, have a fantastic time with those you love and with those you have deeper connections to. And if it's a time you just spend on your own, then make it a very, very deeply contemplating, healing, and transformative time. I really wish you all the best. Thank you for sharing Venus time with me today, and I look forward to welcoming you to my next Venus talk meeting next Friday.